Hey there, welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of December 28th, 2020. So this week we have a full moon in Cancer, we have Venus and Neptune making an aspect, as well as Mercury and Neptune. My name is Shawna, I'm an astrologer and a counselor in San Diego, California, and I'm excited to share with you the astrology of this week so that you can make the most out of this time, this last week of the year. So I feel that this week will be a feeling of relief and even a feeling of release for you. And that's because this energy is all like more watery, more intuitive, more emotional, more themed around those things. And we've just gotten done with having some really big astrology, some astrology that's really about transition and big changes. So we had last week the Great Conjunction, Jupiter-Saturn coming together. Those two just changed signs from Capricorn to Aquarius. Prior to that, we had eclipse season. So like lots of change, lots of transition, and lots of big changes. So this week feels like an opportunity to sit with what it is that's come up and to just chill and just take everything in, so to speak. And again, like doing some releasing or some acceptance work as well. So early in the week, we have a full moon in Cancer. So this is exact on Tuesday, the 29th at 7:28 p.m. Pacific time. It's at 8 degrees of Cancer. And so you may even be feeling this buildup of emotion over the weekend prior, so like the 26th, 27th. Full moons are about culmination, they're about celebration, and it's about your emotions, your intuition, that which is feeling inside of you, that coming out, that coming to light. And so this can look like your feelings, your general temperament. It can also look like issues, things that have been sort of just below the layer of consciousness coming out. The moon is brightening this. It's bright. Things are coming to light. And so that may be something that comes up for you. The other piece of this is the moon is in Cancer. And so Cancer is about emotions. It's about intuition. It's also has, Cancer has this protective kind of quality. It's very much associated with making sure that you are okay, that you are protected, that your security needs are met. So Cancer and Capricorn are on the same axis, and they have these goals in common, the goals of protection and security. So that's a big theme for this full moon. And if you really want to make the most of this full moon, I'm leading a full moon guided meditation on Tuesday the 29th, and that will be at 6 p.m. Pacific time. We'll do a meditation, some energy clearing, and a general reading for your sign as well. So I would love to see you there for that. I'll have more information below. Regardless of what you do, like what a beautiful energy to just sort of end the year with like lots of feeling, lots of intuitive themes and energies, and I hope that you get to like really be with this as much as you can. And again, I'll have information in the tips on how to work with this the most effectively. So the other piece of what's happening this week is Venus is going to square Neptune. So this aspect is about relationship issues being somewhat unclear. So Venus is associated with relationship, love, beauty, sexuality. It's associated with the things that we find pleasurable. And it can be like any kind of social interaction too. It doesn't have to be related to romantic relationships. It's like that quality of us that is associated with social bonds and attraction and attachment styles even. Now, Neptune is about the dissolution of things. So it's about dissolving, it's about the mystical, unseen realms, anything from deities to intuition to to clairaudience or clairsentience. I'm going to make sure my lightings get a little, okay, there we go. So Neptune is associated with something either not being seen exactly as it is, or it isn't the way that it seems. So when Neptune is connected with Venus, this is a fantastic aspect for any type of creative work, because creative work is taking something unseen, something from either divine inspiration or your imagination. Imagination is also Neptune, and pulling it down into reality and making that into a form, something that we can touch and see. Neptune is the unknown, the unseeable. It is unseen energy. It's also associated with altered states of consciousness. And so this does not really lend itself well to social interactions, right? If things are unseen or unclear or illusionary. People that have Venus, Neptune in their chart, they tend to be very creative, and they also tend to be really, really in love with life or people, or be drawn to people that are sort of magical. They're usually very magical themselves, but the practical reality stuff is not always there. So this week, setting boundaries is really important, maintaining your boundaries and knowing what it is that is good for you versus not, what's actually happening here, really getting grounded is very beneficial. And just know that relationship stuff is not going to be super clear. There may be a high sense of compassion and love, and even if you're doing a lot of meditative work this week, that's fantastic, but you may not have all of the answers. So the other piece of this too is that Mercury is making an aspect to Neptune as well. So Mercury is sextile, which is a bit of a softer, more helpful aspect. So I think this is an asset to you, working with your mind, working with Mercury, writing things down, getting very clear logically what it is that is happening. That is a benefit to you. Now, I have 3 tips for you, but I did want to mention for the full moon, I'm doing a full moon meditation circle this Tuesday, the 29th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I would love to have you there. It's open to all levels. We'll do a guided meditation, some energy work, and just a nice place for you to connect and to make the most of this moon energy and to connect with like-minded people in a virtual space. So I'll have information on that below. It's sliding scale, $10 to $15, and you can join. You can join via Venmo. So via Venmo or PayPal, and then I'll be able to send you the Zoom link. So I would love to have you there. Okay, so tip number 1 is to keep things in perspective. So this is important because there's a lot of big feelings this week. The full moon in Cancer is like everything feels urgent and important, and like there's a heightened sense of emotion. So I want, and plus Venus-Neptune is all about like getting swept away with what it is that's happening, getting swept away in romance or getting swept away in, it can also be getting swept away in fear. Also, it's like getting swept away with your imagination, which again is good if that's what you're going for. If you're doing creative work or you're doing meditative work, this is good. But I want you to keep things in perspective this week, especially if there are worries or fear that is creeping in. Tip number 2 is to remember that your perception is subjective. And so what I mean by this is even the way that you, when you're just looking at the bare facts, when you perceive things, oftentimes even that is subjective. So this is very Neptunian, so I want you to keep this in mind, that this week, even when you think you know what is happening, you may not really know. And a part of this is because your unconscious mind is acting as a filter for everything without you realizing it. And there's no way for you to fully be aware of everything that is unconscious in you. That's what makes it unconscious. And then there's also, like your cultural patterning and your family history and things like this. So all of this is run through this filter, and then the experience, after it's filtered, you come to a conclusion, and that may or may not be objective. So again, this is very like Venus-Neptune. So I just want you to know that things are not always as they seem, that your perception is often subjective. Tip number 3 is, at the same time, to trust your intuition. To, more than this, to trust your subtle intuition. So last week, when I was doing an Instagram live, we had a little Astro Coffee chat. Someone asked about how to differentiate between fear and something that is based on your past experience versus your intuition. And we could do a whole talk about that, but the short and sweet answer is intuition is subtle. It is subtle. It's like those little teeny tiny feelings. So I want to leave that with you, because Neptune is associated with intuition. The full moon in Cancer is associated with intuition. So notice where it is that it feels like you're being drawn, where there's openings, and where it feels like maybe something is not right, and to pause. Pausing doesn't always mean no. It just means pausing and seeing where more information is needed. So this is the last week of the year. Again, I'm hosting a full moon meditation circle on Tuesday the 29th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I would love to have you join me for some meditation, some energy work, and just connecting under this beautiful moon. And if you haven't already ordered it yet, you can still get my 2021 Moon Journal, either as a PDF that's immediately downloadable, or you can order the paperback as well. So I'll have details about all of that stuff down below. I'm wishing you a happy new year, sending lots of love, hopes of safety and comfort and health to you. Bye.